Hey everybody, and welcome back to What's Dylan Doing. It's a show about things that I've got going on in my life. Today is going to be all about my new camera gear. I have been tirelessly trying to figure this stuff out. I film on my iPhone 13 Pro Max. I have for several years now. I used to film everything on a DSLR I used to film everything on a DSLR Canon camera, and I loved it, but it done me wrong. The audio is just really not there. And it's an old camera. It's from like 2013 or something like that. It still works great for photography, but not so much for video. So I switched over to my iPhone. Everything is much better, but there are certain things that I miss about my DSLR, like the interchangeable lenses, the ability to control my ISO and my shutter speed and my focus, all of those things. And I'm trying to figure out how I can incorporate that into my cell phone. So I did spend a little bit of money. I got some Moment lenses. I have the 1.33x anamorphic lens, which I filmed the last video with. It gives you that ultra-wide screen. It looks very cinematic. It's beautiful. I love it. I also got the 18mm wide-angle lens and the 58mm telephoto lens. And I want to be able to use all of them, but they're giving me quite a headache. It's not as easy as just attaching the lens to the camera and going and shooting. The image stabilization just is not there, as you might be able to tell in this video. It's a little bit shaky. I do have a gimbal, but I like to reserve that for like B-roll. I don't want to walk around filming myself with a gimbal. So today I'm just going to try and figure all of this out. There's a small park very close to my house. It's got some trails throughout the woods. We're going to go hike it. I'm going to get my steps in, get a little bit of exercise in, and I'm going to shoot some B-roll and try to figure all this junk out. That's what's on the agenda for today, so let's get to it. Hopefully you guys can hear me. It's really windy. I do have my wind muff on, but I don't even know if that's helping. It is super windy. It's supposed to start storming in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. They're predicting like hail. It's not going to be good, and we don't want to be out here for all of that business. So, we're at Pleasant Ridge Park. I've been coming here since I was a little kid. Lots of fond memories. In fact, the building that's behind me here, Summer and I came here for our wedding photo shoot. We had our full get-up on. We had our wands from Universal Studios. It was very Harry Potter themed. It was lovely. But we're not here to reminisce today. We're here to hit these trails and figure out this camera business once and for all. So let's get to it before it starts hailing on our head. I am really sweaty, you guys. I am in dire need of a shower. The trail is a lot longer than I remember. It's really overgrown, so I don't even know if I brushed up against some stuff that I shouldn't have, or if I have bugs crawling all over my body. But it was worth it. I think I got some good footage. It did seem a little bit laggy, at least on the screen when I was filming, and a little bit shaky still. I was using my gimbal, so that helped quite a bit. But there's also this setting within the camera app that I'm using. I'm not using the native iPhone camera app. It's an aftermarket one that I purchased. But there's a setting in there, it's got a toggle for stabilization. And I turned that off about halfway through just to see if it would make any kind of difference, especially with the anamorphic lens that I'm using. The digital stabilization that the iPhone provides might mess with that. Maybe that's what was causing the lag. I'm not really sure. So I turned it off about halfway through. I don't know if it does anything. As far as I know, you can't turn off the stabilization on the iPhone. That switch could be there for funsies. I'm not really sure. What I did see looked pretty good, and I'm pretty excited to get home and start editing it. I'm going to end the trail hike part of the video now, go home, shower, and then I'll set this stuff up and show you guys a little bit more in depth about the lenses that I got and what I intend on using them for in the future. I'm pretty excited. I think this is all going to work out. I've been doing camera tests for like 3 weeks. This video should have been out a long time ago. I didn't intend to make a video explaining where I had been for 3 months and then stop for another month. That wasn't my intentions, but sometimes it's just how things work out. So I'm gonna go shower and I'll see you guys in just a second. Alright you guys, so we are back at my house. I am all showered up. I'm feeling a lot better. Although I'm still sweating profusely, as if we are still outside trekking through the woods and it's 90 degrees out. I am still burning up. And also, my nose is so stuffed up. You guys will have to bear with me. I can barely breathe right now through my nose. It turns out that trekking through the woods for about 2.5 hours does not do well for seasonal allergies. But you know what? I think I'll live. And we did get home just in time. It started storming almost the second I pulled up in the driveway. It was a doozy, but I think it's done now, which is good because we live in an old house and the power tends to go out every single time it storms here. So hopefully it's over with and I can film this video without being interrupted by darkness. So before we ended, I did want to show you guys the equipment that I bought, the equipment that I was using today, the whole purpose of this vlog, to go out and figure out this camera junk. We were out at Pleasant Ridge Park, we were hiking, and I filmed a lot of B-roll. And this is my B-roll camera. So I've got the iPhone 13 Pro Max, I've got my anamorphic moment lens attached, and I have my gimbal. This is the Zhiyun, I think is how you pronounce it, Smooth 5S. And this is the same model as the Smooth 5, as far as I know. The only difference is that it has a fill light built in directly to the gimbal, which is pretty cool. And there's also some attachment points so you can add additional fill lights to the gimbal, which is something I've never used before, and I don't even know if I will use it in the future, but who knows, it might come in handy. This gimbal is a beast. It is very new for me. I just purchased this when I got the lenses and everything. I do have another gimbal, but for some reason that gimbal would not hold the weight of my cell phone with the lenses. I don't know why. It has a higher weight capacity than this gimbal does, but it just wouldn't balance out. I did have to get some counterweights that you can see attached to the side here. I purchased those before I bought this gimbal, hoping that if I put the counterweights on my old gimbal with the phone and the lenses that it would balance out, but it never did, so I bought this guy. And I'm glad I did. It is a much better version of the gimbal that I had. There's a bunch of different functionalities on here that I didn't have before that I didn't know that I needed, but I love. There's about 5 or 6 different modes on here, one of which is the vortex mode, which is my favorite. It'll turn the camera up towards the sky or you know, like this, and then you can use a little joystick on the front to spin it around and get some really cool barrel roll shots. You can also do it this way and spin it around like that, which is pretty sweet. I won't be using that a lot, but it's very cool. Another functionality of this is that there's a trigger on the back, and I love this, but if you press this trigger 3 times, it turns the camera around 180 degrees. So, I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I don't intend on walking around filming myself with the gimbal, but there are going to be instances where that is the case, where I'm going to have to be doing that, because I'm not going to have moments to set up a tripod much like this and stand somewhere or sit somewhere and talk to you guys, and I'm just going to want to be walking around, I'm going to be on the move, and I'm going to have to use this. But say I'm walking around with my gimbal and I'm filming myself, and then something awesome happens in front of me, all I have to do is click this 3 times, and it will automatically turn around, so I never miss a beat. I never miss the action. That is very cool. I did use that a couple times today when we were filming, and I love that. That's a really cool feature. There's also this little wheel on the side. Now this, for me, it's cool, but it's useless, because in order to take advantage of this, you have to be using the Zhiyun camera app, and I don't use the Zhiyun camera app. I use the Moment Pro camera app because it's a companion to the lenses that I purchased, so it just makes sense for me to use that app. I also really like it. There's some really cool functionalities built into that app that I really enjoy. But if you have the Zhiyun camera app, you can use this little dial to either zoom or you can use it for focus, which is really cool. I really hope that Moment incorporates this gimbal into their app so that I can take advantage of this. But right now, that's the only feature within the Zhiyun app that makes it worth it. Everything else in there is not great. So I don't plan on using that. Right now, this toggle's kind of useless. But you can also see on the side here, I have attached a cold shoe mount, and this is for my microphone. If in the event that I am walking around filming myself with this, all I have to do is slip my microphone into it, like so, and then I just have to pull the phone out from the side of the gimbal just a little bit to be able to plug this in. And there's plenty of wire there, so I can move this around, and I don't have to worry about the wire being too tense or putting too much pressure on this and shorting out the wire or the microphone. It's perfect. It'll still spin around. You know, it's great. It's great. But like I said, this is basically my B-roll camera. I will reserve this for moments when I'm out trying to be artistic, all artsy-fartsy, and get some really cool sweeping shots, some beautiful crane shots, all kinds of fun stuff. So this is my B-roll camera, and this is what we were using today. Now, in addition to this, I've got my, what I refer to as my dialogue camera, which is for scenes much like what I'm shooting right now, which is where I either have the phone mounted to a tripod in a fixed position like this, or I have my little mini tripod with my phone clamp on it. And it also has a cold shoe mount built directly into the top of it, so I can attach my microphone to the top. I can walk around and I can shoot dialogue scenes or scenes where I'm just talking to you guys. So I'll put my mic on there, put my phone in, and then I can just kind of walk around and talk to you guys. Or it is a tripod, so I can fold the legs out and set it down on a table and sit down and talk to you guys. Now this little tripod is new as well. I bought this in the Rode Vlogger Kit. That Vlogger Kit is the only place that you can purchase this tripod, and the reason I spent the money on the entire kit just to have this tripod is because most little handheld tripods you can detach the clamp from the top, right? This one, you can detach this part, and this part is where you make all of your adjustments. You know, if you want to tilt the phone up towards the sky or down towards the ground. And the reason that interested me is because I have a boom pole that extends out, I think about 4 feet or so. And it's got a 1/4 inch mount at the bottom and a 1/4 inch mount at the top. So I can install this on my little handheld tripod here. I put my phone on there when I'm out and about and extend this bad boy up. And it basically acts as a full-size tripod, much like the one I'm using right now to film this video. But the one I'm using right now is huge. It probably weighs, I don't know, 10 pounds, and it's massive, and it doesn't fit in my backpack. This, however, breaks down and does fit in my backpack, and it extends out. So I have a full-size tripod that I can sit on the floor and talk to you guys with, hands-free. So that is why I bought this thing, and I love it. Also, with the boom pole attached here, I don't even have to have the base of the tripod attached. I can take that off, and it's got a grip here, so I can just kind of walk around like this talking to you guys. I love it. So this is my my dialogue setup. It's kind of a 2-camera system, and I do have 2 of these. I have my personal phone that I'm filming this on, and then my dedicated camera phone. And the reason that I have two of them is because I didn't want to have to silence my personal phone when I was out filming. If anybody needed to call me for any kind of emergencies or anything like that, I wanted to be able to have access to my cell phone and not just silence it and completely turn it on airplane mode so nobody could reach me when I was out filming. Especially in the situations like today, when we were out hiking, if I had fallen or gotten hurt or something, I need to be able to quickly contact someone. So I do have two phones. So I got my dialogue phone and I got my B-roll phone. I love it. I love it. And as you can see, I do have the anamorphic lens on there, and that's what I filmed with today, that ultra-wide cinematic shot. It's so beautiful. I love it. And I'm going to be using that for all of my B-roll shots going forward. But I do have two additional lenses. Now these lenses are an 18mm wide-angle lens and a 58mm telephoto lens. And I know what you're thinking. The iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max have a standard lens, a wide-angle lens, and a telephoto lens all built into the back of the phone. So why do I need those, right? Well, the standard lens is the best quality lens. And with these, slipping over that lens, I get the functionality of the other two, but I never lose quality. I never lose resolution. It never gets shaky or pixely. It doesn't act funky in low light situations. So that's what I have these for. So these will be in combination with the standard lens on the back of the iPhone for my dialogue scenes, and then my anamorphic lens will be for my B-roll. So I got my whole little arsenal set up, you guys. And then in addition to the microphone that I have, this is my new Rode mic. I also have the Rode Video Mic ME, and this one came with the vlogger kit that I bought the tripod with. And it's cool because it plugs directly into the bottom, the charging port of the iPhone. And I have two of them. I bought one of these, and this is what I used to film all my videos on my phone with. And then I got this new one because it's got the cold shoe mount, so I can attach to the tripod and the gimbal. But when I bought the vlogger kit with the tripod, it came with another one and also a fill light, which I haven't used. But I do have extras of these. They are really good for moments like this because I'm using one right now to talk to you guys. And then if I, say I got both my phones out and I got one attached to my tripod so I can quickly talk to you guys, I can have this plugged into the phone and talk to you guys, and I don't even have to worry about removing this from the gimbal. So no matter what, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. So I learned a lot of things today, you guys. It was a lot of chop in the footage, and I mentioned that to you guys when we were at the park today. And I think upon reviewing the footage after I got home, I think that's because of the frames per second that I had the camera set in. I was filming in 30 frames per second, and I think that might have been why it was so choppy in combination with the gimbal and trying to do like fast, smooth shots. It seemed kind of laggy. So I think next time I'll try to do 60 frames per second, which in itself is a little bit tricky because when I'm using the anamorphic lens, the app, the Moment app for that lens, it de-squeezes the footage so that I can see what it looks like normally on the screen when I'm filming. Otherwise, it bunches up because that's what happens with an anamorphic lens. It bunches it all up so you get extra shot in on the sides. And when I put it in 60 frames per second, it doesn't automatically de-squeeze it. So I'll have to come home, and before I can start editing, I'll have to de-squeeze all of my footage, and then I can start editing it, which might be a little bit of a hassle, but if it looks better, then I think it's worth it. So there's going to be a lot of learning to this. I'm glad I went out and tried to figure it out today, but I haven't gotten there 100%. And I'm just going to have to continue to go out and film and try new things and just see what happens, see what looks the best. But I'm really glad we went out today. I had so much fun hiking. I think, like I said, I think I'm going to be doing a lot more of that. Just going out and getting a little bit of exercise in on the weekends when I'm not working, and just being out in nature, being one with the earth. I really enjoyed that. And I think next weekend I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to go someplace else and hike, and I'll try to get some more footage, try to figure more of this junk out. I think that's a good stopping point for today, because I'm getting really sweaty again. So thanks for being here, you guys. Thanks for watching. As always, I love you, but I'm Dylan, and this is what I've been doing. I'll see you next time. Bye!